Hi everybody, happy Monday. We're Chris and Steve with EatWalkLearn. So glad you're here. We drop a video every Monday telling you about our nomad life, our house sitting life, our vegan eating life, and all the things we do as we travel the world full-time as retired full-time nomadic travelers. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yes.
Where are we?
We're still in Dublin, Ireland. Beautiful Dublin. We're going to be here for about another week. I don't know, maybe 10 days, 2 weeks we're going to be here. But definitely give us a like, give us a subscribe. Next week we're going to be talking about all the crazy things that we did in Dublin that you're going to want to know about.
And none of them are on the top 10 list. We're not going to talk about Guinness. We're not going to talk about all the things.
We might talk about Guinness.
Yeah, but it's not going to be in our top 10 list. Not because we didn't do it, but because we're going to do 10 other things that aren't in a top 10 list.
Yes, while we drink a Guinness.
Right. But this week, we have a really interesting video for you today. And this video is the 5 effective things we do in order to get engaged in the community. Our number one goal as we travel around the world, well, of course, it's to see things, but it's also to meet and get engaged in the community. And this is more than just hanging out with expats, right?
Yeah, and we're Eat, Walk, Learn. So also, what is it about, walking and eating and learning we can do? And a lot of things that we learn from other people. And being a nomad is a lot about is how can we connect with other people in the communities that we go to? Right.
And hanging out with expats, not a bad thing. I mean, we do that a lot, and that's one of the things we're going to share with you. But sometimes if you just hang out in your little expat bubble, it's kind of hard to get to know the locals, like the people who actually live in the towns where you're staying. So these strategies, 4 of the 5, are how to meet those people. So number 1, so as you guys know, we do a lot of house sitting and we do a lot of Airbnb, and the person that we find, or the people that we find, are really, really helpful in getting us into the community are the actual owners of these homes. So the homeowners at a house sit, or the house sitter, the Airbnb guest. I'm sorry, not the Airbnb guest, the Airbnb host. And what we try to do is really seek out a conversation with them, find out a little bit about their lives, and then in that conversation, we often find we have things in common. Of course, a lot of these house sitters and Airbnbers, what do we have in common with them?
Travel.
Yeah, travel, exactly. And being outdoors. And a lot of times we have hiking as part of those things. So we will ask them if they have any community groups or any friends that they hang out with on a regular basis, or maybe they get together weekly or they get together monthly, and see if we can get invited with them or go to one of their meetings in their absence. Like, for example, Go ahead.
Oh, for example, I was just going to say, it's a great way to also to, build that bond is, what we're looking for. I mean, this is the key person that you're meeting when you often get to a community when you're doing a house sit. And it's a great way to form those bonds with that person. But a great example was we were just in Sligo a few weeks ago on the west coast of Ireland, and the homeowner, before they left, they invited us to go on a little hike with them in their hiking group.
Right. She knew that we had just finished the Camino, and it was the summer solstice, so she invited us up that evening. We arrived, and that evening we all went on a hike up to the summer solstice, and the longest day of the year in Ireland, or everywhere in Ireland, and went up to the top of the mountain. And of course it was foggy and all fogged in, and it wasn't a very good sunset, but it was an enjoyable way to meet people. From that meeting, we met a lady who actually was a neighbor, and then we ended up hiking with her probably 3 or 4 times that
and
week.
She took us to places that we never would have been able to get to on our own. Really some amazing hikes, really iconic hikes for the area, and we'll show you some pictures that were just fantastic hikes that
and then she also got us turned on to some live music. Her husband was in a band, and so we had the opportunity to go listen to some live music. So it was just that one connection turned into several different activities and things to do, and definitely made a connection for us in Sligo.
And don't be afraid to ask. I'm a little more timid, maybe a little shyer. Chris is the one who will ask all these questions, and be bold and ask people about, what are some activities, what are some things that we should do while we're here, or some groups that we can get involved in, and you'll get a great response.
So number 2 is if maybe you don't have a person to talk to, definitely take advantage of Facebook and looking at events on Facebook. Now, yes, it's in the events section, but the particular thing to look for are events themselves, like 10Ks or activities, groups that are meeting that need volunteers to help with just the administration and the handing out tickets or checking people off. those little tiny tasks that take a lot of people in a very short amount of time. We find that events like that, it's a great way that you can volunteer. And with volunteering, sometimes it's difficult to volunteer in a community because the volunteer agency requires a background check or a training period, or there's an orientation meeting you need to go to. And none of that really ever works when you're only in a community for a month or so. But if you go to an event like a 10K or something, they're often just needing bodies to put into spots to do something. So that's what we did in Puerto Vallarta. We volunteered at a what was that?
It was a community art craft. They were doing some, from fundraiser, what we'll talk about, but, we volunteered to work there, and they put us to work, and we were, handling, the cash, which I thought was funny. It was like, we don't know these people, put them in charge of the money. But it was a great opportunity to meet people in the community, and what they were raising money for was an organization that helps kids after school. And so we met the founder, the owner of that, and then that led to another volunteering opportunity, and we were able to, work with the kids, and we did help them with a little computer lab, which is something that was right up my alley, and teaching them some things, and then we were in Puerto Vallarta, so it was. They were Spanish speaking, so we got to practice our Spanish, and we got to help the kids practice their English. So it was, it was just all around. It was just a great opportunity.
And then another volunteer opportunity we did in Mexico that we also found on Facebook. A local monkey preserve or animal rescue place needed someone. They were cleaning and painting cages that day. So we went, not even really knowing what it was. We went and we ended up we cleaned out a monkey cage, or I can't remember what it was.
The turtle. It was the tortoise.
That's right.
Tortoise that they had, that they rescued, and they needed. Had him in a temporary pen, and we wound up building a permanent facility for this.
We had to move sand and repaint the walls, and
it was a lot of work.
And then, but they had a private cenote on their campus, and then on their site, and then as a reward for volunteering, we got
climbing down into this cave and going swimming in this beautiful crystal
unbelievably
clear water.
Gorgeous. And then at the end, they cooked this giant paella for us. And while we were eating paella, we met the other volunteers because we really couldn't talk to them while we were painting and stuff. But so we sat down and ate, broke bread with them, and then one of the volunteers owned a restaurant in Tulum, and she invited us. It was a vegan restaurant actually in Tulum, and she invited us down to that. So we did that, and so then it was just another one avenue in to connections for other things. Okay, number 3. I think there's enough for that. Number 3. Museum events. Now, we've really taken advantage of this in Dublin. We've done a couple of things in Dublin. What have we done?
Yeah, and so just, to kind of take this aside, as we're new in a community, there's a real temptation to just do the top 10 things that you do.
And we do those.
In the city that you do, as if you were, a visitor, which we are a visitor, a tourist, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But Nomads, we want to get a little bit deeper. We're going to be here for a longer period of time. We really want to get to know people and know the community. So the museum event, the first one that we did here in Dublin was really kind of an art appreciation.
Art, yoga, meditation thing.
Yeah, and again, we weren't really quite sure what it was that we were signing up for, but it wound up to be a really wonderful day, meeting people and really enjoying the art. There's some amazing, artists that are, local artists here in Ireland that we did some, art appreciation of, and did some, meditation and yoga. Yeah, it was weird.
But what we often find with these museum events, often they're free and you need to sign up for them, or just go and there might be a wait list and you just hope that somebody didn't show up. Or there might be a few dollars you need to pay in order to go. It is worth it. I mean, think you could either go to the bar and spend $5 on a beer, or you can spend $5 at a museum. Often the fees are really reasonable and not something that necessarily needs budgeting because it's a high, it's a $50 event. But just last night we went to a urban sketching thing at one of the museums where they taught us how to do. Actually, it was architectural sketching. They had a live band playing. We did the sketching. Then we ended up talking to the events coordinator, and he asked us what our sketching background was, and we said we'd like to do it. And he says, "Oh, we have this sketching event coming up on Sunday. Why don't you go?" And so we did, and we had a wonderful time. We met a ton of people. Here's pictures of our sketches, and it was just. We met one person that made another person, and then we went out and made other people. So hopefully we'll have some invites as well to follow up from our sketching event. And again, that came from just going to a free museum sketching event here in Dublin.
Yeah, and the things that you're interested in are probably going to be different than when we're
golfing
interested in.
or hiking or horseback riding or
but
whatever.
The idea is the same, that just Facebook groups and Facebook events can really kind of open up a world for you and help you find out things. And the museums, again, they're trying to get people in and they're trying to get people engaged. And so it's a great way to really be involved in the community at a deeper level.
Also, just to add to that, I know we've got a lot of viewers who are film festival people, and film festivals are also a great way. We had the opportunity to volunteer for a film festival here in Dublin, but it ended up conflicting for us. But film festivals also just are another thing that are often looking for bodies to come in and manage things and take tickets or whatever. So look to film festivals as well, and you might even get to see some free screenings. Okay. Last thing we want to mention, which of course we cannot not mention this, and that is Facebook groups. In particular, a lot of our viewers are Go With Less people. So Go With Less is a Facebook group founded by very good friends of ours, Tim and Amy from Denver. We actually know them and love them, and they're our friends. And we're so glad to see them be successful and with their group Go With Less, which the goal of Go With Less is to help share information about nomading and travel hacking and house sitting and so on. But if you ask Amy, the number one goal is to get people together. So
well, that certainly works for us.
Yeah.
And, we've already had a couple of events here in Dublin. Pretty much everywhere we've gone, we just put it out there and say, hey, we're in Spain, we're in Portugal, and
we're in Italy. I think every country we've been in, we've done a Go With Less event.
Every place we've been in, and we're finding people, and we're getting together and sharing some fabulous stories and making, I think, lifelong friends. And it's just been a really great opportunity.
And there are other groups. There's Senior Nomads. There's lots of other nomad groups that are engaging and want to engage with you. Each group kind of has its own personality and its own kind of vibe. So you need to find the vibe that works for you. Some are more extroverted, some are more introverted, some are maybe older, some are younger. I mean, some are van life people, some are RV people. Just find your group, and all of us, especially if you're nomad, all of us have one thing in common, and that's we're constantly moving. And so the network of constantly moving people frequently are constantly moving in the same places. So you'd be surprised at how often you end up in the same places where you never even thought that you would. Yeah. So anyway, make some friends, reach out and use those Facebook groups to make your friends and connect. So, and also just one last thing, in those groups, there are expat groups. So if you go to Facebook and you say expats in Split, expats in Dublin, expats in New York, expats in whatever, you will find groups, and expats are also very fun to hang out with. It's nice to have a comfort level or a comfort zone that maybe you don't get elsewhere in your life as a nomad. It's nice to get in there.
And just a tip, if you know you're going to be going to a particular city in a particular country, join the expat group, ahead of time, so that you can start interacting with some people, and you might be able to find out some things and make some plans, way ahead of time, and not be doing it at the last minute. Well, it's Tuesday. What are we doing today?
And cruising groups do that. So if you're going to be on a cruise, a particular sailing, you can get on there's different websites. Cruise Critic is one of them, where you can do a roll call, introduce who you are, try to get connected with those people before you get on, or start making plans right when you get on the boat. And so you don't spend 2 or 3 days trying to get to know people. Immediately you've got someone to have a drink with, or someone to hit the pool with, or go to the disco with, or whatever. So disco. But I think maybe the moral to our story is social media. There's some bad things to say about it, but some of the good things are people that are on social media and are using social media are very social. They may be more introverted like Steve or more extroverted like me, but ultimately they want to be social and get together. So take advantage of that. Use those tools. We'll put some links in the description about some of the places that we constantly go to find things to do. And if you're watching us and you want to meet us, we're social. We want to meet you too. So reach out, say hello, and if we're going to be in the same place, we will make plans to get together with you.
And I want to know if you have any resources, things that you use as a nomad to find other people or find things to do, things that are unique where you travel. Let us know about those.
Yeah, what are your tips and tricks for meeting people? How do you fight the blues and fight the loneliness and fight the boredoms of nomad life? So let us know, and we want to hear from you, and we will respond to all your comments. So write them below. Thanks a bunch.
Please give us a like.
And a subscribe. We're trying to get over, I think we're at 504 now. Let's get to 600 this week.
Yeah.
600.
Come on,
Here we go.
anybody's on the fence, subscribe right now.
Thanks, guys. See you next Monday.